In the previous module, we looked at the responsibility ladder and we looked at how roles change as you progress through your career. Now we need to talk about qualifications. Most professionals know that qualifications matter. They influence credibility and they appear in job descriptions, and they often determine whether or not someone is shortlisted for a role or not. But many people never actually think about selecting qualifications strategically. And it is very common for professionals to collect qualifications simply because it's either fashionable or it's being offered through the organization. For example, a colleague may mention a particular course, or an employer is offering funding, or a trainer actually promotes the latest framework for excellent delivery. And because of that, people then enroll. They study hard, they pass the exam, and that qualification is then added to their CV. But they then return back to the job with the same level of responsibility that they had before they did the qualification. And that is where qualifications lose their power. Because a qualification only has value if it supports the move from one level of responsibility to the next level of responsibility. It should strengthen the credibility for the role that you want to move into, rather than just having a new qualification added to your CV. And when we think about qualifications in that way, the qualifications we then choose to do becomes much clearer. So, if someone is working in a supporting role and they want to move into a project manager's role, then studying a project framework becomes incredibly useful. So qualifications like Prince2, PMP, Agile Delivery helps people understand how projects should be delivered and managed. They formalize a process of delivery that many people have used time and time again with great success. And that type of qualification gives someone the confidence and the ability to move from supporting a project to owning it and delivering it. And as a project professional, and you want to move from a project delivery role and start aiming for something that has more senior responsibility, the focus of what you study will change again. It is no longer just learning and understanding how to manage delivery. It becomes increasingly important to understand how to manage risk, commercial structures, and very senior stakeholder environments. So yes, advanced certification does help, but experience about how to manage complex situations matters just as much. Like learning how contracts work, understanding complex supply relationships, and handling difficult stakeholder conversations. And those are the capabilities that really distinguish the difference between a senior project manager and a project manager. And again, when a senior project manager starts developing for program leadership, the nature of the work and the nature of the qualification needed changes yet again. As discussed, program leadership is not just about managing larger projects. It's about coordinating multiple initiatives so they can actually deliver a combined outcome for the organization. And that's where qualifications like managing successful programs, benefits management, business case development actually begins to add some real value. Because these help project management professionals understand how to combine, how to create organizational value rather than just deliver individual projects. And at director level, again, the emphasis shifts significantly. Yes, certifications still carry credibility, but they're no longer the primary signal for capability. Experience, judgment, and reputation becomes far more important. And senior professionals at this level are recognized through fellowships, sector accreditation, and professional recognition. but more importantly, they are known for the decisions that they have made and the outcomes they have influenced. Now, this doesn't mean that development stops. Senior leadership is about strategic thinking, financial literacy, and communication skills. And these become far more important than just learning more project management frameworks. So, for an example, a professional that is expected to speak regularly to senior stakeholders, explaining benefits and the risks associated to a particular investment, and asking for a financial decision, would actually benefit from developing their communication skills. So joining an organization like your local Toastmasters would become incredibly valuable to them as they would gain experience and confidence in speaking in a public environment. Obviously, these type of activities aren't just labeled as project management development, but they can certainly increase someone's ability to operate at a much higher level. And this is where the idea that sits behind Prepare to Lead becomes valuable, as preparing for leadership is not about just gaining more qualifications. It's about deliberately developing the capabilities that you need to move into that next level of responsibility. And yes, sometimes that development can happen naturally within an organization as you progress through the roles. But sometimes professionals need to seek opportunities and learning from outside the organization. And that simply might be volunteering for more visible initiatives, developing new skills independently, or simply pursue training that strengthens your credibility to move into that next role. And the key point is simple. Qualifications are more powerful and more beneficial when they support a deliberate move into the next level of responsibility. When chosen strategically, they can accelerate your career. But if they're collected randomly, they really change anything. So in the next module, we're going to look at something that matters just as much as capability, and that is exposure. Because progression is not just about being capable of operating at the next level. It's about being seen operating at the next level.